Colm, Buckley, you're here from the People Group, and you've been coordinating the recruiting. Why these four? Why have they made it through to the shortlist?
Firstly, John, I'm glad you haven't asked me about anything that might pass.
Not yet.
These four, yeah. I mean, I think overall, one has to remember that an awful lot of companies have gone through a war zone over the last 2 years. There's been cost cutting, there's been redundancies, there's been salary reductions. So I think that companies that are now re-resourcing themselves are looking for positive people. They're looking for energetic people. They're looking for people that will help them ramp up. And I think, without picking on any one of these four, all four candidates came across with those attributes to us, aside from their experience. And
also, you made the point, because it is an IT company, none of the four of you have, is that right, have background in IT necessarily?
No.
Yeah, so the important thing here was the ability to sell.
I mean, again, John, you take the program like Dragon's Den. They buy the person in the first place. So you've got these vulture capitalists that are looking to turn a buck. They'll buy the person, before they'll buy the product. Mm-hmm. So I think at the end of the day, that the people are very, very important when it comes to sales.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And what about the four of you now? When it comes to thinking about your careers, do you think that you're going to be in many jobs in the course of your careers, or do you fancy the idea, Adam, of being in a company that you could perhaps stay 5-10 years with?
Yeah, I'd very much like that to be the case. I hope not to be in lots of jobs. It's nice to sort of, I'm ready to kind of nest a little bit. I sort of bounced around a little bit in the last few years with moving through a few different countries, and I've sort of selected Dublin to make a home for myself, and I've selected kind of the ICT industry as where I want to sort of build my career. And I think like HiberniaEvros are an excellent company for me to do so. So, no, I know it's going to say I'm going to be there till I'm 65.
That's what I'm saying, though. The way people look at jobs now, they see them as stepping stones. They see that in the course of their careers, they're not going to be in a job for 20 or 30 years. That it's looking.
I think I can safely say I don't want to go anywhere in the next 5 years. I mean, in 10 years, who knows what's going to change? Have kids, hopefully. I don't know how my life is going to change in that period. But no, I don't. I don't like looking for work. I mean, that's interviewing is stressful.
Yeah.
It's. I would like to just kind of find the right position with the right company that gives you the opportunity to move around whilst being in the same place.
Mm-hmm.
So you can keep things fresh just by moving departments, or make a diagonal move, and to kind of keep yourself juiced up.
And have you felt demoralised at times going through the whole interview process, the job seeking?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the first time I've been unemployed. And I think all the job moves I've made prior to this, I've been in work, so that, there's less pressure on you to get the position, and when you do, when they come back to you and it is that no, it puts you really down for a day or sometimes a couple of days, and you just have to dust yourself off and say, well, what did I learn from that interview process? And it's, if they get feedback and say, well, we really liked this and this, but you didn't give us enough back on that, like for example not having enough contacts in the area for what was going to be a more of a sort of door knocking business to business sales job, and perhaps next time if I knew I was going for a similar role, I could pitch harder how I would get around that. For my next interview.
Yeah, and Joe, what about you in the job hunting business? How have you found it? Have you been unemployed at any stage?
No, to be honest, I've been quite lucky in that regard. Previous for applying for this role, I was working in IT and technical support for the best part of 2 years, and then I was moved into sales. I find that I enjoy communication, and within IT, if you specialise, it can become quite a closed kind of where you're not really communicating and using your skills. So then I really kind of decided that I'd like to kind of get into sales. I've been lucky in that it didn't take me very long to switch from IT back into a sales role, because I had worked in advertising before, working and selling advertising and all that. So I've been quite lucky in that regard. This opportunity came up because I felt it would be a strong match for my experience to date, and that's basically why I'm going for it.
Yeah,
so,
and the whole so many jobs have you gone for in your life thus far, and how many interviews have you been through, and you're familiar with the whole process?
Oh yeah, I'd say I've been through about maybe 5 or 6, maybe 7 interviews, but I'd be well used to the interview process. I have a good idea like what kind of recruiters are looking for, what they like to hear, and then I think I have a pretty good way of presenting that back in an interview. And then, if you come across a company like HiberniaEvros that's looking for a strong sales candidate, I think this is the ideal role.
Yeah. Carl, what about you? How have you found the whole job hunting process?
Well, I suppose being the estate agency, I have built up contacts in that.
That must have been very difficult. I mean, the business probably went from being very good to being non-existent.
The past 2-3 years has been difficult. It's been difficult. You know, people are angry, and obviously they have the right to
take out the anger on you, do they?
Yeah, of course they do. They have the right to be. A lot of people get into negative equity and that as well. And, you know, if you did say a price to somebody, they can kind of be taken aback from it as well. And, you know, it has been tough the past 2-3 years. But again, I suppose going to the IT sector, a friend of mine, John, he's in that at the moment. He's been in the last 15 years, and he just, you know, he was explaining to me, he loves it, he's so enthusiastic about it, and that kind of got me involved in it as well. I was just saying, you know, geez, I'd love to do that.
But at this stage, you reckon getting out of the estate agency business might be any harm?
I have, you know, 6 years experience in the business itself, and I just think now IT is a massive sector, so I just think that'd be a good opportunity for myself as well, especially being 24, you know.
Una, you've travelled the world, you're well travelled at this stage. Were those travels just, was it leisure only, or have you worked abroad as well?
I've worked abroad as well. I lived in Sweden for a year. I went over there just to kind of see a different part of the world, and decided to take on teaching over there. So I started off kind of small, just teaching English to Swedish people who would be travelling, and then I was approached to do a business course, so for people working in businesses, so that I would be able to train them English business lingo per se.
Right. A different language altogether.
Yeah, so that was a great experience. And then after that, that was really my work experience when I was travelling. But I've travelled the world. I also was with a group called Up With People. Have you heard of them?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. That was a great experience. There was 22 different countries represented, based on cultural awareness. Kind of, we would have gone ahead of the cast, kind of set up a city as such, found accommodation, press releases, radio interviews to promote the show. And of the 2 shows that we were promoting, we were actually the only group to have 2 sold-out shows. So that was achievement in itself.
Great, yeah.
And that was at 18.
So your experience of being abroad then is a positive one, because a lot of the talk at the moment is about people having to emigrate. What's your view on it, by the way? Does emigrating actually end up enhancing your experience, and you come back with skills you perhaps didn't have before?
I think you grow as a person. I think you see things from a different perspective. When you go away and you're on your own, you're out of the comfort zone of family and friends, and you have to survive by yourself. You come out of your shell, and you learn to deal with people. You engage with people. You increase your people skills, and it's such an experience. And I think everyone at some point in their life should actually get away and do it, because I think it really stands to you later on.
It does indeed, lads. You'd agree there, I'm sure. Yeah. Now, okay, it's time has sort of run out, and I think, Colm, the plan is later today, Sonia Lennon is going to bring them through their style paces. Mind you, looking at the 4 of them, I'm not sure they need a whole lot of guidance, but we're going to do that during the day, and by the end of the week, we're going to have the 2 successful candidates for those sales jobs. But I'm going to ask you now quickly, in one word, sell yourself.
In one word? that's 3 words already.
Quick. 5 seconds. Innovative. Joe.
Amazing.
Carl.
Special.
Una. Tenacious. Very good. Well, listen, good luck with the final interview process. Our thanks to Joe, Carl, Una and Adam, and as I said, 2 of you will be fortunate enough to get the jobs. My thanks also to Colm Buckley from the People Group for coming in this morning.